Did you know that some dogs that look like a single breed are actually a mix of two completely different ones? And we're not talking about just any mix, but combinations that can completely change their size, their personality, and even their way of seeing the world. Because when you see one of these four-legged companions, what you're seeing isn't just their appearance. You're seeing the result of two completely different genetic histories, united in a single body. And the most impressive thing isn't how they look, but what they inherit. There are mixes that combine intelligence with extreme energy, others that blend tenderness with a protective instinct, and some that seem impossible, but they exist. And when you start to understand them, you realize that not everything is as simple as it seems. Because it's not just about putting two breeds together. It's about what each one brings. Every trait, every instinct, every reaction comes from somewhere. For example, imagine the discipline and learning ability of a German Shepherd, combined with the endurance, independence, and piercing gaze of a husky. The result isn't just an attractive animal. It's a combination that can be extremely intelligent, but also challenging if you don't understand its nature. It can learn quickly, but it can also question. It can obey, but it can also decide for itself, and that completely changes the way it lives with you. Now think of something even more unexpected. A mix between a husky and a Pomeranian. Two opposite worlds. One large, strong, bred to withstand extreme conditions, and the other small, compact, with an intense personality in a tiny body. The result might look cute, even funny. But inside that small size, there can be an energy that isn't as easy to manage as it seems. Because that mix doesn't eliminate traits. It combines them. And when that happens, what you get isn't a reduced or softened version. It's something completely new. And that's what makes these combinations so attention-grabbing. Because they completely break the logic of what we think we know. It's not just that they look different. It's that they function differently. There are mixes where one part brings calmness, and the other brings intensity. Where one brings closeness, and the other constant vigilance. And when those two natures meet, they don't cancel each other out. They integrate. They transform, and they create something unique. Something that isn't repeated in exactly the same way in any other. But here's the important part. Not all combinations are easy. Some require more attention, more patience, more understanding. Because you don't always know which trait will dominate. It might inherit tranquility, or it might inherit a constant need for activity. It might be sociable, or it might be more reserved. And that means it's not enough to just look. You have to understand, because when you decide to live with one of them, you're not just choosing a companion. You're accepting a combination of instincts that come from completely different generations, and that implies responsibility. It means observing, learning, adapting, because each one has its own way of interpreting the world. And if you don't understand it, problems can arise. Not because the animal is difficult, but because it wasn't understood from the beginning. But when you do it right, when you truly understand what's in front of you, something different happens. You start to see beyond the mix. You start to notice how it responds to your voice, how it recognizes your habits, how it adapts to your presence. And that's where everything changes. Because it stops being a combination of breeds and becomes a connection. Something that doesn't depend on its origin, but on what it builds with you day by day. And maybe that's why they're so attention-grabbing. Because they're not just a genetic mix. They're a mix of stories that end up becoming part of yours. Because in the end, it doesn't matter if it comes from two completely different breeds. If it's big or small, if it's calm or intense. What really matters is how it integrates into your life. How it waits for you. How it reacts when you arrive. How it stays by your side without needing to understand time or words. And at that moment, you realize something almost no one tells you. That beyond the mix, beyond the genetics, what you're really seeing is a bond that can't be easily explained, but that you feel from the very first day.